Hello traders, this is Rich from TradeSite. Right now we're going to take a look at our proprietary scans for the market leading stocks via the Q-Link tool from eSignal. We are going to be talking about the coming session, which is going to be Monday, May 6th, 2013. We had a very strong session, most of the strength coming on the initial gap after the non-farm number. But what has left us with is actually a condition with a lot of sell signals. We've got a fair amount of differential sell signals and a fair amount of camouflage sell signals as well. There are a couple of upside continuation signals, but they're definitely being overwhelmed by the downside signals. A couple of volume bumps here. Adobe has a differential sell signal, and that's on good volume, so keep an eye on that. EA Entertainment Arts also has a volume bump and a differential sell signal. BlackBerry BBRY is sporting a downside CPS sell signal and is about 1.75% below the day's VWAP and about 3% below the day's open, so that's having a very weak session there. The financials have a similar condition. We've got a fair amount of camouflage sell signals and one differential sell. The differential sell, the diff, is in Goldman Sachs, which was kind of seesawing back and forth, but is going to wind up closing below the day's VWAP. You can see a lot of these are just a little bit below the day's VWAP, which is an indication of weakness. We do have volume bumps in the CME, JP Morgan, which was really weak today. That's 2% below the day's open. MasterCard has a volume bump, as well as USB and Visa. Moving on to the energy patch. There's a lot of strength in the commodities themselves, but we don't have any upside signals in the commodity names. In fact, we've got mostly downside signals. BP's got a double signal. It's got a diff and a camo sell. Some fairly decent volume. We also have a differential sell signal in RIG on what's almost a volume bump, but not quite. So definitely seen the energy names biased to the downside here. Generals look more or less the same as the NASDAQ leaders. These are all fairly weak. Disney's the only buy signal. Disney tends to almost be a more defensive name. Caterpillar's got a pretty good volume bump here and a differential sell signal, so that's going to be a name that's going to be on my list for Monday. The downside CPS sell signal in the UNH. It's having a really weak day. That's almost 1% below the day's VWAP, which is a real indication of weakness right into the close. They're selling it right into the close. So keep an eye on these for Monday for short ideas. If we do take to the downside, housing names a little bit sloppy. We've got a sell indication of the camouflage variety in DHI, and we also have it in Hovnanian. Both of them are about 0.5% below the VWAP. The transports are actually the ones that are a little bit better. Those are the later cycle stocks. So if we're going to have weakness overall, this might be a bit of a safe haven. We've got an upside CPS buy signal in CSX and FDX. A couple of sell signals here in the UNP and the UPS. So unfortunately, that's kind of mitigating any kind of bias, but at least this is the one sector that doesn't have an outright downward bias. And the commodities opened up strong and have kind of faded. AA Alcoa's got a differential sell signal, as does Silver Wheaton. Both of those are on unspectacular volume. Silver Wheaton's pretty light. Freeport Copper, light volume, camouflage sell signal, and the Mosaic MOS also has a camouflage sell signal. So on balance, we're looking for a little bit of sloppiness on Monday and perhaps the half gap fill or maybe even the full gap fill, but we'll see. All right, folks. As always, thanks for listening. Hope to see you again next week. This has been Rich for TradeSite.